Good morning, Tampa Bay. Channelside Sports in the morning, day after Memorial Day. Thank all of you for sticking with us through the inconsistencies of of running this morning show every single day. We are back, going full force. There will be every single morning Channelside Sports. You will tune in right here and wake up with us every single morning. Speaking of inconsistencies, Tampa Bay Rays, baby. We asked for a split. We wanted a split of the Yankees. We got a split of the Yankees. Great. I am A-okay with that, and I couldn't be any more happy that they at least split with the Yankees. I've said that multiple times over the last couple of weeks. How do you split with the Yankees and then you travel to Texas, a team floating at 500? How do you travel to Texas and then you lose? It's beyond me. It's very, very difficult to pinpoint exactly where this Rays team is falling short and continuing this insane inconsistency throughout the season. ESPN says that the Yankees, Rays, and Blue Jays are too good to miss the playoffs, and they're all expected to make it. The Yankees are still surging, regardless of splitting the series with the Rays. They're still looking good. The Rays, we have way too many question marks. Bats are falling asleep. Our aces aren't doing so well. Rasmussen had a less than ideal start. It was the headline from ESPN. The bullpen has been questionable at best. And it's confusing. You look at, there was separation for about a week and a half. There was the Yankees, 5.5, 4, anywhere between 4.5 and 5.5 games between the Yankees and the Rays. And then a couple of games back were the Blue Jays. Okay. That gives us a little bit of wiggle room if we're the Tampa Bay Rays to figure some things out, implement some new strategies, yada, yada. The Rays are only a half game up of the Blue Jays now. And that's not good. You've got to be more than a half a game up of the Blue Jays. When you go into the summer months, you don't want to play catch up. You want to play follow the leader. Ideally, you'd like to be the leader. Obviously, the Yankees are playing very, very well early on in the season, so it is going to be a game of catch up. They're only 5 games back, thanks to that split. That would have been nice had they gotten the W against the Texas Rangers. Unfortunately, they did not. So here we are. It just makes you wonder, where are they going to make a move before trade deadline? Is something going to happen to bring this Tampa Bay Rays team to the next level? Are they going to bring in I don't even want to say a vocal leader. You've got vocal leaders on the team. You've got your Brett Phillips. You've got all of these other players that step up, but you need somebody who's just consistently good. You don't need a great player. And we know that the Tampa Bay Rays probably are not going to spend that much money anyway, because that's what they're notorious for doing, which is fine. However, you need to get a good, consistent player. You need a Jimmy Butler. That's what you need. You need a guy that is not a superstar, but he is very good in all aspects of the game. And that's what you need. You need somebody that you can count on to say, hey, we need a single. Can you hook us up with a single? And then he pops off, gets a single. Like, that's the kind of player that you need currently if you're the Tampa Bay Rays. Pull the trigger. Make a trade. I don't think there's anybody really available in free agency currently, but make a trade, see what you can come up with. I it's mind-boggling to me watching this team go, okay, so they're scoring a hell of a lot of runs against the Mariners and the A's, and then they're getting shut out by the Angels and destroyed by the Angels in game 1 of that series, to splitting with the Yankees, being inconsistent with the Tigers. Like, that's the theme of this of the first half of this season for the Rays, and I hope that they can figure this out relatively soon. Ryan Yarbrough is on the mound against Martin Perez tonight. The Rays obviously are favored because they're the better team, but you just don't know, and that's the sad part, is you don't know. If I'm looking at another team, like, typically you would say, okay, we're going to play against the Boston Red Sox, right? Typically the Red Sox are a good team. So if you're a Red Sox fan, you go in a game against the Texas Rangers and you're feeling pretty damn good about it. On the flip side, after what happened last night, when you have your ace and Drew Rasmussen not play very well, and then your bullpen not play very well, and now you've got Ryan Yarbrough, who's played decent this season, but you've got Ryan Yarbrough on the mound tonight, and go, oh, I don't know how I feel about it, because they haven't given me enough to feel any particular way. And by the end of May, you should have some sort of feeling about where this team is headed and who's going to step up and who's going to make the big plays and where the trajectory of this team is going to go. But we don't have that. And that's the scary part about this team. Uh, we'll see. Hopefully they get the W against the Rangers tonight. First pitch is at 8 p.m. Obviously, it is in Texas, and we'll see. I know you take it a series at a time, game at a time. We're not pushing the panic button, but we would just like to see some level of consistency, whether it's on the mounds, whether it's at the plate, just some level of consistency. That's all we ask for. Nothing crazy. The Tampa Bay Lightning finally have an opponent last night. It was a hell of a game last night in game 7 between the New York Rangers and Carolina Hurricanes, and they're going to go against the Rangers in the Eastern Conference Final. Game 1 is tomorrow night, June 1st, 8 p.m. live from Madison Square Garden. There's got to be no better feeling if you're a sports fan in like the New York area and you get to go to Madison Square Garden for these games. Like, that's the arena of arenas, right? That's the Mecca. The Rangers have had 2 series. Both of their series have gone 7 games this season. Meanwhile, so they've played 14 games. Meanwhile, the Tampa Bay Lightning are sitting at, they swept Florida Panthers, of course. So there's 4 games, went 7 games against the Toronto Maple Leafs. So they've played 11 games. And they've also had 8 days of rest by the time the puck will drop tomorrow. 8 days. We've talked about this before. 8 days is great, but it's also terrible. You want to rest up. You want to get Braden Point healthy. You want little nagging injuries to have time to heal up. So you're as good as you can be. You're not going to be as good as new this deep into the playoffs, but you want to be as good as you can be. And I think this is all you can ask for if you're the Tampa Bay Lightning. This is the second time that they have met the New York Rangers in the Eastern Conference Final. The first time was in 2015. You guys probably remember how that went if you're a Tampa Bay Lightning fan. The Bolts won Game 7, by the way. So I feel good. We all should feel. Tampa Bay has just come out surging, right? Florida Panthers were the team to beat heading into the playoffs. If you're a diehard hockey fan, you kind of already saw the writing on the wall because the Florida Panthers just they don't seem to get it done. I've compared them to the Green Bay Packers multiple times. Regular season, fantastic. Postseason, not so good. Always seem to fall apart. And that's not a slight at the Lightning. The Lightning took advantage of that. They saw that. The narrative going into that series the entire time was you don't want to get in a shootout with the Florida Panthers. They didn't really have to get into a shootout until game 4, where Andre Vasilevsky stopped 49 shots. But the Lightning are still the team to beat, especially in the East. Especially in the East. The Rangers look great. Like, we can't slight the New York Rangers. We can't say that they don't look great. I mean, they just scored 7 points. They look great. And this has been labeled a fairy tale season for the New York Rangers. So when you're playing beyond your means, as the New York Rangers are this season, because they shouldn't have gotten to this point, everything that they have accomplished this season is great for the New York Rangers because they shouldn't have had these accomplishments. They shouldn't be playing in the Eastern Conference Final. If you follow any offseason rankings, preseason rankings, saw how they started the season, this is a shock. Now, on the flip side, for us Tampa Bay Lightning fans, it's a shock, yes. However, it's also kind of dangerous. And it's dangerous. It's a different type of danger than the Toronto Maple Leafs, right? The Toronto Maple Leafs were playing to prove something. The Rangers are just playing. And I think that's where the big difference is the New York Rangers they're playing beyond their means, and they're just going out there and playing freely. And good things are happening. And when you've got seasons that are labeled as, they're fairy tale seasons and things like that, you have, okay, things just start going the right way. Calls go your way. Maybe you win a few more faceoffs than you normally would. Passes seem more crisp. You're not playing with any sense of reasoning or urgency. Whereas the Lightning, now that we're in the Eastern Conference Finals, the Lightning are playing for a purpose. When you go to the first round of the playoffs, you're playing just to advance. That's in every sport. Yeah, we want to get to the next round. We just want to get deeper into the playoffs. When you're playing in the Eastern Conference Final and you're the back-to-back Stanley Cup champions, you 100% have your sights set on winning that championship again. So you're playing with all of the purpose in the world, which can be a hindrance to you because you've got all of this weight on your shoulders and you have all of these expectations, not only from yourself, but you do have them from the media. I don't care what Michael Wilbon says. I don't care if ESPN is going to continue to trash Tampa Bay sports. At least for hockey, it's such a weird dynamic when you watch like national media. It's super strange to me. You'll watch ESPN talk. Well, they don't talk about the Rays really, but you'll watch ESPN talk about the Rays and the Lightning as if they're afterthoughts. And now because Tom Brady is a Buccaneer, though, over the last 3 seasons now because Tom Brady is here, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are great. They're the greatest thing ever. But the Lightning are back-to-back Stanley Cup champions. But we're an SEC hockey team. We're not a hockey town. I would argue, as a football guy first, I 100% would be willing to die on the hill of Tampa Bay being a hockey town more so than any other sport. I would 100% battle to the death to defend Tampa Bay as a hockey town. I've met so many hockey fans at Lightning games and watch parties and things, social media. So many Lightning fans that are not fans of the Rays, that are not fans of the Buccaneers. They moved from X city. They moved from Detroit, right? They still like the Lions. They still like the Tigers, but they're diehard Lightning fans. You can name the city, and it's pretty much consistent across the board. It's the culture. It's the culture of the city of Tampa Bay and the Lightning fans that make this a hockey town. I don't think I've ever seen the amount of fans of one particular team that are not fans of the other teams of the city like I have with the Tampa Bay Lightning. And that says a hell of a lot about the winning culture that this Tampa Bay Lightning team has. Hell, I'm kind of one of those guys. If you know me, you know I grew up a diehard Detroit Red Wings fan. I live in Tampa now. I'm embraced by the Lightning. I'm embracing the Lightning, and I've been embraced by the Lightning fan base. So here we are. Case in point, right here is me, diehard Lightning fan. That's what I've developed into. Coming around to the Rays, it's a little hard. The inconsistency is definitely not helping me come around to the Rays. But I guess we'll definitely have more tomorrow on the preview of game one once we start getting some lines and some official practices coming in. And I'm excited. I'm so excited to finally get this Eastern Conference final underway. It's like I said, it's dangerous when you've got older guys, when you've got your Steven Stamkos and your Pat Maroons and you've got this older crowd. It is 100% relevant and true for a body in motion stays in motion when you're getting up there in age. It doesn't matter what sort of diet or workout or any of that you have. You need to be consistent, and we know they're not sitting on the couch. Like we understand that they're still practicing, but there's a difference between practice speeds, no matter how hard you're going, and playoff game speed for any sport, especially hockey. Skates are faster, hits are harder, shots are quicker, and that's how hockey play. That's why hockey playoff is so fantastic. To me, hockey, there's nothing better than playoff hockey. I think playoff football is close, but like if you watch the wild card last season, and that's the thing is you can't have best of series in football. It's too hard. It's too violent of a sport. Hockey is a very violent sport, but you're not taking, you're not getting helmet to helmet hits and things like that. But playoff hockey is a whole different beast. And that's where it concerns me a little bit for game one, at least. This team has enough veteran leadership to where if they come out a little flat in game one, they can bounce back in game two and it's going to be A-okay and everything will be fine. New York City, Madison Square Garden is going to be absolutely rocking tomorrow. It's going to be on fire. It's going to be very, very loud. We'll see Ryan McDonough play at home. It's going to be great. I can't wait for it. Preseason rankings for NFL are coming all over the place. They're coming out of the woodworks, and that's to me, this is the best part of the NFL offseason is when you're getting camps, you're having your mini camps, your OTAs, your mandatory mini camps, and then you're going to start your full on off season practices and workouts. Pro Football Focus released their top 3 players for each team heading into the 2022 NFL season. no surprise, number 1 is Tom Brady. What is a little surprising is number 2 is Tristan Wirfs. And what's surprising to me is that usually the offensive linemen don't get much love. And that's one thing that I'm definitely intrigued by. We all know how good Tristan Wirfs is. He was drafted and then made an immediate impact for the Bucs. Could it be, that it was the Tom Brady effect? Doesn't matter. He's already there. So when Tom Brady, which we'll get into a little bit later, but when Tom Brady's gone, Tristan Wirfs is already playing at this level, right? That's where you look. That's where he's going to be. That's all he knows. Now he's got Shaq May. Like he's got all of these other veterans around him, and Tristan Wirfs is going to be. I'm going to say it right now. May 31st, Tristan Wirfs will be a Hall of Fame offensive lineman. Period. Point blank. Period. Tristan Wirfs going to Canton when he is retired and it's all said and done. Number 3, another guy going to Canton, Mike Evans. It should be no surprise, no shock. Mike Evans has been nothing but consistent since he's been drafted. Every single season, you can count on him 1,000 yards and 8+ touchdowns. I say 8+ depending on injuries. Every now and then, your wide receiver 1 does get nagging injuries. You're getting double teamed, getting hit a little bit harder than the slot guys, even though they're coming across the field. Who knows? So with Tom Brady, I would say it's probably a 99% guarantee that Tom Brady will be gone from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers next season. Retired with a different team, not entirely sure. But I don't see him. I don't see a world where Tom Brady is coming back to the Buccaneers. That might change slightly if they win the Super Bowl. But that, for me, that's the only caveat in retaining a player like a Tom Brady. Pro Football Focus has the top 5 quarterbacks to watch in college football this season. They just released this list yesterday. Ideally, as Bucs fans, I get it. I don't want to talk about Kyle Trask. I'm tired of talking about Kyle Trask. I've never. It's wasted energy and wasted breath to talk about the 3rd string quarterback as often as we do. I guess that's a good thing. That's a good problem to have when your football team is so good that you're bickering about backup quarterbacks. But especially if Kyle Trask does not win the 2nd string quarterback role, this top 5 quarterbacks to watch in college football this season list, it becomes all the more intriguing if you're a Tampa Bay Buccaneer fan. Because as we saw in this last draft, some of these names on this list aren't a whole hell of a lot better than the quarterbacks that were falling very, very late in this most recent draft. You got Bryce Young out of Alabama, CJ Stroud out of Ohio State, Tanner McKee from Stanford, Will Levi from Kentucky, and Anthony Richardson from Florida. Now, I know Florida Gators fans are already jumping for joy. Oh, my God, we got another guy in the top 5 to watch. Hold on. Look, Florida quarterbacks, Ohio State quarterbacks, Alabama quarterbacks, they don't typically work out. They just don't. That's why it's hard for me when I look at these lists to put a whole lot of stock in it. Like I'm not going to tell you that I'm grinding college football game film. I'm not. I grind NFL game film like it's no tomorrow. Ask my wife. NFL is 365 for me in this house. Alabama, Ohio State, their programs are so good, which I think hurts the quarterback when they translate to the next level. Look at who Tua Tagovailoa was playing with in Alabama. And Tua looked like an absolute stud when he was in Alabama. Has has he translated well to the NFL? He had. Some would argue he has, some would argue that he hasn't. I'm pulling for Tua. I hope that he translates well. But if you're looking and you go, okay, well, do you want to take a flyer if you're the Buccaneers and move up in the draft and draft Bryce Young? Probably not. How about CJ Stroud in Ohio State? Same problem. Ohio State's program is too good around the quarterback that it hurts the quarterback when they try to translate to the next level. When you've got all of these 5-star recruits on your teams, it's very difficult because you no longer have 5-star recruits. Not all of your offensive linemen are going to be 5-star recruits. Not all of your wide receivers are going to get drafted in the top 18. Like it's much harder at the next level for these quarterbacks to adapt. Tanner McKee, Will Levi, Stanford and Kentucky. I would be more apt to drafting one of those quarterbacks presently. We'll see how the season plays out. We'll see if you watch mechanics, footwork, trajectory, things like that, things that are reliant on the talent abilities of the quarterback. Those are the things that you can really rely heavily on. Oh, but he passed for 5,000 yards. Don't care. Doesn't matter. We saw Jamarcus Russell blow it up in college, suck ass in the NFL. Ryan Leaf. The list of quarterbacks that have not panned out is much bigger than the list of quarterbacks that have panned out. Just think about it. That's why Tom Brady is playing in his 85th season this year. That's why we've got the GOAT still playing and still playing at an elite level. And I think for me, that's where do you take a flyer? I know we're going to talk about this at nauseum, and it's going to be. I like this is the conversation. These are things that I like. I like having the GM style conversations. Please hit me with a comment. Let me know what you think. Do you stick with a Blaine Gabbert or a Kyle Trask? Do you look to a Tanner McKee or a Will Levi? Do you try to make a trade? Do you say, hey, look, we're going to have a ridiculous amount of dead cap hit when Tom Brady leaves? I think it's like 28 million or something nuts. We're going to have this huge cap hit when Tom Brady leaves. So we're going to need a serviceable quarterback. That's what we're going to need. Do we need to make a trade for a Jimmy G? Jimmy G is serviceable. Would you reunite Jimmy Garoppolo with Tom Brady in Tampa Bay? Why not? Jimmy Garoppolo's played in a Super Bowl. He's played in 2 NFC championship games, won one of them. He's had a good team around him in the process of doing it. Buccaneers are a good team. Seems to fit the mold for me. If I'm looking at a guy like a Baker Mayfield, I like Baker Mayfield. You all know that. I'm very high on Baker Mayfield. Give him a chance. Doesn't look like Deshaun Watson's going to be benched at all this season. He's killing it in practice. Fans are going crazy. Yeah, they're losing fans. I watch football to watch football. I don't watch football to judge what's going on outside of the field. Like that's not for me. That's not why I watch sports. That's not why I'm going to watch sports. I'm not going to watch sports to go, oh, well, this guy's done it. Like I don't work in law enforcement, so that's not for me to decide or discuss. I can have thoughts on somebody, and that's about as far as it goes. If an NFL team feels that a player is good enough to give a guaranteed, a very lucrative contract, no less, to somebody like a Deshaun Watson, okay. I watch football. I talk about football. I write about football. That's my job. I'm not a cop. I'm not a prosecutor. I'm not a judge. I'm not a that's it. That's it for me. So with Deshaun Watson probably not missing any time, because you would think that they would have announced something by now instead of just being completely silent, letting him roll out at OTAs and minicamp, letting him do all of these things. You would think that there would be some sort of, hey, yeah, you can't participate in this if they were going to suspend him. Now that it doesn't look like it, oh, if I'm Jason Light, I'm calling Cleveland. Hey, guys, you totally botched Baker Mayfield's trade value. He doesn't want to be there. He's got a terrible attitude. He's got an ego problem. Talk up all of these sensationalized social media and clickbait article headlines. Sensationalize all of that. We'll give you a third round pick and some practice squad guys. However, we need you to pick up 16 out of the 18 million guaranteed to Baker Mayfield. I know that he's a free agent next season, but here's what you get with Baker Mayfield. You get a guy who is a solid starting quarterback. You do. I know people don't want to look. Social media will tell you that Baker Mayfield is a bum. Stats will tell you otherwise. Wins and losses are not quarterback stats. Don't care. Don't argue. Don't at me. I don't care. Wins and losses are not quarterback stats. Quarterback stats are quarterback stats. And if you're looking at Baker Mayfield stats, pretty much every single category, he's in the top 12 in the NFL. Also, here's something that's very interesting. And this is case in point for me as to why you don't necessarily need to follow these headlines and do your own research and don't just jump on bandwagons for absolutely no reason. Kirk Cousins is always labeled as a bum. However, in pretty much every statistical quarterback metric, he's in the top 5 for the last 4 seasons. I'd take somebody like Kirk. Does he get paid way too much money? He absolutely gets paid way too much money. Congratulations to him and his agent for raking the Minnesota Vikings over the coals and just squeezing every penny that they could out of him. But Kirk Cousins is not bad. Baker Mayfield is not a bad quarterback. So what you get if you trade for Baker Mayfield is you get him in your system for one season. You get him to develop a camaraderie with Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Cameron Brate, Russell Gage, who's under contract for 3 years. You get him to develop a camaraderie with these guys. So you already have a solid starting quarterback on your roster. And then you say, hey, look, you didn't play this season. We have Tom Brady. We didn't need you. Like, we brought you in so you could get acclimated. You know, when you buy a fish from the from the fish store, and you have to like set the bag with water in the aquarium to like acclimate to the water. That's what you're doing with Baker Mayfield. You're getting him acclimated to schemes, playbook, coaching staff, front office, personnel. And then you're flipping it on him and saying, look, you didn't play. We'll give you a prove it deal. We'll give you a 2-year prove it deal because all of the rest of our starting core players are under contract for 3 years starting this season. So we'll give you 2 years. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Leonard Fournette, all of those contracts, they'll be expired the same time as Baker Mayfield. And we'll figure that out when we get down the road. But we want to win now. So here's your prove it deal. Oh, by the way, we don't have any state income tax. So it's going to be a little bit less than what you would have been offered had you remained with the Cleveland Browns as their starting quarterback. And then you go from there. People want to win. The Buccaneers are going to win. They're going to be contenders every season. All you need is a serviceable quarterback. You can get a quarterback like a Jared Goff to thrive in Tampa Bay. Look at what he did with the Rams. He looked like an absolute superstar with Brandon Cooks, who Brandon Cooks doesn't look very good anymore either. It's all about schemes. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have too many of the right pieces in the right places for anybody to struggle unless you just don't have the talent. That's why you give it a prove it deal. And I give Kyle Trask a chance. I get it. They're giving him chances, and he's not grabbing the brass ring. He's not moving up the ladder. Let's see what he does in the offseason. Let's see if he beats out Blaine Gabbert for the backup quarterback position. Do you think he can? I don't know. All I know is what I've seen Kyle Trask do in college football. That's all any of us know. So if you're on either side, you're incorrect either which way. Kyle Trask is going to be a great quarterback. Kyle Trask is going to be trash. Kyle Trash. That's cute nicknames that people on social media like to use. You don't know. You don't know if he's going to be good. You don't know if he's going to be bad. He did not play one single snap last season during the regular season. Not a single one. So you don't know how he's going to play. We don't know if he's going to be good. We don't know if he's going to be bad. What we do know about Kyle Trask is that he could end up getting the Tim Tebow syndrome if they force him into a situation he's not prepared for. Could Tebow have turned into a good quarterback? Maybe. Possibly. But I do know that he was forced into a situation he wasn't ready for, and that definitely affected the trajectory of his career right into the ground. Do you want to give Kyle Trask a chance? Are you saying that you think he's a better quarterback than Tim Tebow, who's the greatest college quarterback of all time, or arguably one of the greatest? That's up to you. Moving along, Pro Football Network. They released their top 32 wide receivers in the NFL. Number one's Justin Jefferson. Hard to argue against. Number two is Cooper Kupp. And I guess that's where you kind of have okay. 1, 2, and 3, I think, are like a 1A, 1B, 1C, because number 3 is Davante Adams. And I guess you give Davante Adams a nod because he's had such a good career to this point. But then you also look at it and go, how much of that is based on Aaron Rodgers? We're not sure. We'll have to see. Tyreek Hill at number 4 is a shock to me because Tua gets so much flack by the media. That will be interesting to see. We've seen highlights. If you're following just football highlights on social media, you'll see there's been passes where Tua has severely underthrown Tyreek, and then there's been passes where he's dropping dimes to Tyreek. I still think Tua was held back by Brian Flores because he wasn't his guy. We all know Flores wanted Deshaun Watson. And I feel like game planning and things like that were part of the reason why Tua didn't look as good in Miami. DeAndre Hopkins rounds out the top 5. I don't know how I feel about DeAndre Hopkins still being labeled as a top 5 receiver. And I say this because when we watched Arizona Cardinals games last season, Kyler Murray effectively just spread the ball all around. And this was before DeAndre Hopkins got hurt. We didn't see a lot of highlights plays from DeAndre Hopkins like we have grown accustomed to. We saw him pull the hamstring. and then kind of, like jokingly trot back out to the field and piss off Cliff Kingsbury and then get pulled out the next series and then basically get shut down for the remainder of the season. But there was a place and there was a time where you forced the ball to DeAndre Hopkins because 50-50 balls were not 50-50 balls when it came to DeAndre Hopkins. When it came to Hop, you were talking about like 70-30, 80-20 balls. Not so much anymore. You're looking at Father Time's catching up to DeAndre Hopkins. He's had a fantastic career. He's still a great receiver. I just don't know if he's top 5. Jamar Chase is at number 6. I think that's respectable. Jamar Chase came in his rookie season and had one of the best rookie seasons I've ever seen and that you've ever seen. Statistically, he was fantastic. Deebo Samuel is at number 7. I'm okay with Deebo Samuel being number 7. I think he really turned it on last season. The question with Deebo Samuel has never been the ability or the talent. The question has always been the durability. Can he stay healthy? Will he be able to play a full season? How's he going to look with Trey Lance? That's also another thing. Trey Lance and Deebo connected a couple times last season. Looked pretty good. Stephon Diggs at number 8. There was a time where I would have argued against Stephon Diggs being as low as number 8. I might even consider moving Stephon Diggs above, having him and DeAndre Hopkins switch positions. I think that's still respectable for Hop. And then that gives Stephon Diggs the flowers that he deserves. I think that's where he's at. The Buffalo Bills immediately got better when they traded for him. And then everything started turning right for that franchise. Josh Allen turned it on. I don't know. AJ Brown is at number 9. I think that's got to be way too much respect for AJ Brown. He's coming into a new system. He's coming in with a quarterback in Jalen Hurts, who I know last year was technically his second year, but based off of the games that he played, last season was essentially the latter half of his rookie season. Jalen Hurts was the number 1 fantasy quarterback, which means absolutely nothing because most of those points came on the ground. I don't know if here's the issue I have with AJ Brown being at number 9. Chris Godwin is at number 10 and Mike Evans is at number 11. Do I think that AJ Brown is better than Chris Godwin? No. Do I think that AJ Brown is better than Mike Evans? Hell no. Do I think Chris Godwin is better than Mike Evans? All right, so I've had this debate with Buccaneers fans a lot. Statistically, if we are looking at measurable categories such as catch percentages, routes run, if we're looking at all of the categories that are controllable by a wide receiver, Chris Godwin is actually a better wide receiver than Mike Evans. He just doesn't score as many touchdowns. And I know some people are going to say that's blasphemous and I'm an idiot and I don't know football. Numbers don't lie. You lie. Opinions lie. Stats are stats. You see the numbers. You can look them up. They're as plain as day. Mike Evans is for sure going to be a Hall of Famer because he puts up big numbers. But when you get to the meat and potatoes of what at heart a wide receiver is, Chris Godwin has better statistics than Mike Evans. He catches a higher percentage of his balls. That's it's those measurables that make Chris Godwin a much hotter commodity And I know, and it's so hard to say that because we're talking about Mike Evans is going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer when he retires. I get it. And then you look at the list and you go, could you really have Chris Godwin ahead of Mike Evans? And I get it. When you're looking at it at face value, you're like, hell no, Chris Godwin is not better than Mike Evans. And that's fine. If you say Mike Evans is a better receiver than Chris Godwin, I can't fault you for it. I just rattled off numbers and statistics as to why Chris Godwin is technically a better wide receiver than Mike Evans, and I have a hard time putting him ahead of Mike Evans. I use these numbers because I don't think Chris Godwin gets the respect that he deserves. But Mike Evans is better than the 11th best receiver in the NFL. And that's what that boils down to me. Yeah, but Mike Evans has Tom Brady. He had Jameis Winston before that. He had Mike Glennon. He had Blaine Mike Evans has been consistent his entire career. 1,000 yards every season. Nobody's ever done it longer than he has. He broke Randy Moss's record. Mike Evans is standing on his own. You can't tell me that he's only good because he has Tom Brady. You don't like Tom Brady, I get it. Like that's the only thing that it could boil down to. You don't watch football. You don't watch the Buccaneers. You don't like Tom Brady. So now Mike Evans is trash because that's the narratives that we need to spin when it comes to debating sports. When we're uneducated in a topic, that's the way that we do things. And yeah, Mike Evans is apparently trash. He's not. I still think Mike Evans is a top 5 wide receiver in the NFL. I think that anything less than I think what I would do for my top 5, I'm okay with keeping Justin Jefferson, Cooper Kupp 1, 2. I'll keep Devontae. Screw it. I'll keep Devontae Adams at number 3 as well. I've watched Devontae Adams never drop balls, be double covered, just destroying defenders. Like, yeah, I'll keep Devontae Adams number 3. I'll keep 1, 2, 3 the same. I would move Mike Evans to number 5. I would move Stephon Diggs to number 4. So I would round out my top 5 with Justin Jefferson, Cooper Kupp, Devontae Adams, Stephon Diggs, and Mike Evans. Just switch around. Switch Hill and Stephon. Keep everything else the same. You can keep Jamar Chase at number 6. I don't think AJ Brown has any business being in the top 12. I don't think that there's anything about AJ Brown's game. Look, last season, I know he was plagued with injuries, but last season he had one standout game last season, and that was it. When at a time where the Tennessee Titans were passing the ball more than ever because Derrick Henry was out, at a time where defenses still had to account for Julio Jones. I know Julio is in the twilight of his career and possibly completely done. Still a free agent, who knows? But you still have to respect Julio Jones. And A.J. Brown just didn't really get it done. And you could say it's on Ryan Tannehill. That's fine. But Ryan Tannehill still led that Tennessee Titans team to being the number 1 team in the AFC when they were supposed to absolutely fall apart and crumble after they lost Derrick Henry. I don't buy it. I don't buy A.J. Brown being number 9, 10, 11, 12, top 15. Sure, I'll give him top 15. I would expect big things from Jerry Jeudy. DK Metcalf is not on here, but look, DK Metcalf is going to have a very down season with Drew Lock at quarterback. I think after your top 3 of this PFN list, that's where it gets super shaky. Having Mike Evans at 11, like that's what really soured me initially. As I'm typing out my list, getting my notes ready for the morning show today, and I was like, "What the hell?" We've really got AJ Brown listed over Mike Evans. You mean to tell me that you think AJ Brown is going to have a better season than Mike Evans? And here's where your quarterback play can come into effect. AJ Brown's got Jalen Hurts throwing him the ball. Mike Evans has Tom freaking Brady throwing him the ball. I was very high on Jalen Hurts getting drafted late. I thought that he was a steal for the Philadelphia Eagles falling that far into the draft. I wrote that for USA Today. You can Google it. It's there. I can't get rid of it. And I'm okay with that because I think Jalen Hurts will develop into a solid starting NFL quarterback. But you cannot tell me that heading into this season, you think that A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts connection is going to be better than Tom Brady and Mike Evans connection. You can't tell me that. I do not buy it. I will not buy it. At me. No, I don't. I don't have time for that today. I don't. I just don't. I don't understand. There's an explanation as to why these players were where they are. And I don't care what the explanation is. I don't care because AJ Brown's not a top 9 receiver. He's just not. And he's arguably going to take a fall with the Philadelphia Eagles, especially in his first season, because the Eagles offensively are not very good. They don't throw the ball very well. Everything is RPOs for the Philadelphia Eagles, and somehow we've got A.J. Brown listed ahead of not just Mike Evans, but Chris Godwin as well. I think it's sure. Is it neat that the Buccaneers have Godwin at 10 and Evans at 11? Sure, that's cool. I guess that's respectful, if you will, to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But Godwin's going to miss some of the season anyway, coming back from ACL injury. So why are we? I just don't know. I don't get it. It's just crazy. Mike Evans at number 11. There's no world where Mike Evans is the 11th best receiver in the NFL. There's just absolutely no world. That's going to do it for us today. I follow Channelside Sports on all social media platforms. Drop some comments, hit the like button, subscribe button on our YouTube channel. Please, CH Side Sports on Twitter. I'm going to put a poll out on our Twitter account and just see if people think that Mike Evans is better than number 11. And we'll see. But that's going to do it for us today. I am Danny. I appreciate everybody tuning in. I appreciate the thumbs up on YouTube, interacting with us every morning, each and every morning. We will be live at 9 a.m. Me, Evan, Kristen, doesn't matter who it is. We will be here for the foreseeable future. This is Channelside Sports in the Morning.